the first thing that I want to do is for us all to boot up a GitHub Codespace where we can start writing our PreTeXt documents. And since this initial the initial booting up of a Codespace takes a few minutes, let's go ahead and get that done before we start talking about what PreTeXt is. So I posted a link in the chat, and if you go there, you should see something that looks like this. Okay. And I apparently have lost my Zoom controls. Can you still can you see that, everyone?
I see a GitHub repository.
Okay.
We do have a request in chat to zoom in.
Yes. Hopefully that is a little better. Um, Still waiting to see anything. Okay. So hopefully you see this now and you see pretextbook slash pretext dash codespace. Um,
Just a note for if you're in chat and you still can't see it, you probably want to pop it out because you probably have all the other videos of people that are taking up space. So you can actually click a little menu and pop out the screen share, and that'll you can make that as big as you want then.
okay. So what we want to do here is we want to select use this template when you are on the when you're inside the pretextbook slash pretext dash codespace repository. If you don't see this use this template green button, that means you are not probably not logged in. So you should see a profile picture here, or you should see similar buttons to what I have here. You might be using a light mode, but if you're not seeing this, you're probably not logged into GitHub. When we go to use this template, we want to create a new repository. So you click on the use this template button, and then create a new repository. When I click that, it'll give me a bunch of options to start this new repository. Um, we want to keep most of these just as they are. The only thing you need to do is give this repository a name. I might call this uh, Getting Started Demo. Okay, I don't have to give a description. I do want to leave the visibility as public for now. We can tell you a little bit later about how to change that if you want to also include some material that you don't want students to have access to. But for now, please keep that as public. And then just scroll down to the bottom and click on Create this repository. So once again, what I did was from the pretext-codespace, go to use this template, click on create a new repository. That brings you to a create a new repository page. You give the repository a name. Whatever you want it to call it. And you leave everything else as it is, and then you go to create create repository. And you should try to do this yourself. This way you can start authoring in PreTeXt as well. When you have this, you should have a page that has the title you just gave that new repository. And it might say something like generated from pretextbook slash pretext codespace right there, because you used that template to create this. There won't be very much here. Obviously, the difference is you will not have Oscar Levin there. You'll have your name, your GitHub username there. Once you are on this page, on your version of the PreTeXt Codespace page that you created, your own repository, Now you want to go to the green code button, might be blue depending on your color settings in GitHub. You click that green code button. You'll see there are two tabs up here. One says local, it looks like this. The other one says code spaces. You definitely want to be on the code spaces one. And then you're going to click on create code space on main. So once again, you are on your version of your repository that you created from the PreTeXt-Codespace repository. You go to the green code button, you make sure you click on code spaces, and then you click create code space on main. And that will pop up a new tab, and it will open up a version of Visual Studio Code, which is just a code editor, a text editor, if you will, that will live entirely in your browser. So you'll see I'm in my browser. I've got my bookmarks and everything, my tabs, but it is loading up Visual Studio Code there. I'm going to close this build with agent thing. I don't want to use AI. And I'm just going to let this run.
Could you go ahead and zoom in on it for us as well?
Yes. Can rearrange the panels here a little bit. This is going to take a little while to run. Um, if you are concerned, you can always reload this page, and that will just reload that browser page. And doing that actually gives you a building code space little pop-up usually. And if you click on that, you will see a bunch of stuff extracting down here, just to give you a little confidence that it's actually running. Okay, we're going to let that run in the background while I demo the sorts of things that we will build today in PreTeXt. So when I teach a course, right now I'm teaching discrete mathematics, and this is what my current course document that I made in PreTeXt looks like. We're not going to have all of this by the end of the day. What I want to show you today is how to create an in-class activity or a worksheet for your students. For example, I created this implications worksheet that has there's 5 questions. And so this is what I have published on a public website that I can give my students. And the cool thing is if students have this, they can click the print preview button here, and they will see a printable version that has all of these questions with some space between them to write stuff out. So they could print that. Actually, what I do is I also put a header on there. So I have my class number and the semester. Or maybe I want to take that and say this was actually for Monday, January 26th. 126, if I wanted to change that. And then I could print that and bring that to class. And if I print that, this is exactly what I would get with that workspace. Now, because I don't want my students to always have to go to this website and click on the right thing, what I probably will do is actually embed this activity inside my learning management system. And I can do that by clicking on this embed this page and copy this iframe code here. And then inside my Canvas shell, I could either create a page. So I go to pages here, create a page, and then I can click on this embed thing, paste in that iframe, and then my students will see this in that page. When I publish it. So this is what students would see, and they could still print it from there. So that's kind of the goal for today. And we will show you that and some other things as well. So that's what we are looking for. Let's see how the code space is going. It is still working. The next time you open the code space is it'll go a lot faster. It needs to download a complete computer image to their virtual servers and create basically install a new computer on one of their servers that we can use. It looks like we're getting closer now. I will say that um, this code space workflow is really nice. You can use it from anywhere. You could make changes to your course materials on your phone while you're waiting at the bus stop because you could have the entire development environment on the web like this. But it is also absolutely possible to get pretext on your own computer. That's what I actually do most of the time. You can do that having this exact setup by using a Docker container, or you can install individual pieces of software, including Python and Node and LaTeX and Sage, if you want to use Sage plot diagrams, all on your computer. The pretext documentation has instructions for how to do each of those things, if that is your preferred workflow. So we're getting very close here. Really any minute now. Oh, finish configuring code space. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and close this bottom panel of the terminal. Um, and right, if you are finished, you should see just a few files over in the Explorer view. The README might look like this if you clicked on it. So you might see something like that. This icon up here is the Explorer view, so you could close that or open that. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is create a new pretext document in this code space. The easiest way to do that, and a way that's going to be helpful, give you some extra stuff in the future, is if you go to your menu, and depending on your zoom level, the file edit selection menu inside your browser here in VS Code might be it might be hidden. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it might look like this. You might have a little hamburger menu here where you can see these file edit things. We want to go to help and go to open walkthrough. And when you go to open walkthrough, it'll give you some choices of which walkthrough to open. For me, the last one is get started with pretext.
Oscar, before we do that, let's go
Yeah.
ahead and back up, go back to your repository page, and then show folks once the buttons to click to get back to here because a couple of folks
Okay.
missed a step.
Great. Okay, so if you are back on your repository page, and by the way, if you are just on your home page for GitHub, if you go to the hamburger menu here, you can see your repositories. And if you go to all repositories, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. If you go to the repositories along the top bar here, you will see your most recent repositories. And if you're just starting out on GitHub, you probably just have this one. And you can click on that to get back to this repository. Think of this as the folder that you have in a Google Drive that holds your course materials. So you will see the name of your repository. You'll see the green code button. You can click on the code button, make sure you're on code spaces. Because I have already started a code space, I don't see a create code space on main button here. I see the name of my code space, which which GitHub has so nicely named symmetrical spork for me. Your name will be different. It just gives you a random silly name. And
I
if
think
you
it's
click on,
possible to I think it's possible to rename those, but nobody else on the Earth will see it. So I usually just stick with whatever random thing it does.
when you click on that, I think if you click on that one, it'll just refresh that tab and bring you back to this thing. And if any point things are not working right, reloading this page, it'll say setting up Codespace, but then it will go fairly quickly. And right now it's done, right? Compared to the first time we did it, that was pretty fast. Okay. So we're on a page that something that looks like Visual Studio Code. You might have this icon here in the back. Uh, you have a few things on the side. You might have a terminal at the bottom that looks like that. You could also just close that right now. You'll have something down here that says code spaces, and then that silly name it gave you, some other things. Okay, we want to create a new document. So we are going to do this by using the getting started walkthrough in VS Code. So I went to the help menu, open walkthrough, and get started with PreTeXt. Now, I've already done some of these, so these look like they're checked. The first one you should see would be create a new project. And if you click also, if your window is bigger, you'll see some instructions on the side here about ways to create a new project. But the easiest way for us right now is just to click this button, create new project. And when I do that, it's going to give me a choice of different types of projects to create. And you can play around with all of these, but I would suggest for today, let's create a new course. So I'll click on the course. At this point, it'll pop up a little window asking you where you want to do this. And the place you want to do it should be just by default, workspaces / and then the name of the repository you have. And then you hit select folder, and that will do it. Now, if for some reason you don't have this welcome guide, there is another way to get this. And what I'm about to show you here is a very useful thing for Visual Studio Code. At the top here, you have this box, a search box. If in the search box, you start by typing the greater than, you will see all possible commands that Visual Studio Code has. And then if you start typing PreTeXt, you'll see all of the PreTeXt related commands. So if you type PreTeXt new, you will get the PreTeXt : new project command. So if you get that, then you could just hit that, and that will do exactly the same thing as that button I was showing. So I can go to new course. I want to make sure that I'm at this workspace / the name of the repository / I hit select folder, and it will now do a little spinning. It will refresh the page, and you will get some more files on the side. Some of them will be green. Some of them will be yellow. I'll say a little later why those colors exist. Okay. So once you create a new project, you should see these other files. You will also hopefully see along the bottom toolbar a button with a little triangle and PreTeXt. This is the Run PreTeXt command menu, or I'll call it the PreTeXt menu. One more time for the creating a new project. Well, so I already have a new project, but if you don't yet have a new project, you can either do the getting started walkthrough from the help menu, or if you go up to this search bar at the top and hit greater than, you'll get all the commands. You start typing PreTeXt new. The first command that you see up there should be PreTeXt new project. Click on that. You would select course for the purposes of this demo. And it'll ask you where you want to put that. You'll give that folder. I'm not going to do that because I already have one. If I already have one and I do it, it's going to say can't do it because there's already a PreTeXt project there. Okay. So we now have a templated PreTeXt project. Let's see how to actually build this into a document that we want to share with someone. You should see some files, and one of them should be source. And if you click on the source folder, it'll expand, and you'll see a bunch of more folders there, a bunch more folders and a few files. One of them is the main.ptx. If we open that up, well, it might look scary. There's a lot of comments here. This is the file we're actually going to build. But we don't have to worry about that right now. I'm going to close that so we don't have to look at it. I just want to build this so you can we can see what it looks like. The way I will do that is I will go down to the PreTeXt button at the bottom. I will click on that, and this will pop up a menu with a bunch of specific to PreTeXt commands. And we will then, what I want to do is I want to build default target. And if I click build default target, you should see the PreTeXt button will have a little spinning icon here, and it will be running a command. And in a matter of seconds, it should say build successful. You can preview your output now. Just dismiss that. So once again, from the PreTeXt button, along the bottom toolbar, run PreTeXt command, I click on that. The first option is build default target. That will run. It'll go faster this time, I think. You'll have build successful. You can preview your output now. We'll dismiss that. Next, we'd like to see the output. So I want to view what I just built. Again, I'll go down to the PreTeXt button. I'll click PreTeXt, and now I want to view full document. When I click on that, it gives me a choice of which output I want to see. The only one we've built is this course output. So I'm going to click on that. This should pop up a new tab, which, depending on how GitHub Codespaces is feeling, will sometimes work and sometimes not. And in this case, it worked. If it didn't work for you, it is fine to close that tab, and you might see this thing open in browser. You could try clicking that. That didn't work, wasn't particularly helpful. You can always go back here and view full document again, hit course, and sometimes it just takes a second try and you get this much faster. You can also try reloading that page. Sometimes it just needs to wait for a second for the port to be forwarded. And here we have the document we just built. You can change to light mode if dark mode doesn't suit you. Okay. Now, this particular URL is not shareable. This is only on your this is only for your eyes inside the GitHub Codespace. This is not published anywhere yet. The way that you would publish it is going down to the PreTeXt button and going to deploy to GitHub pages. And if we click that, this will also run. This takes a little longer. Deploy successful, you can view your deployed site now. And if you go to visit site, it'll ask you if you really want to open this external link. But notice this external link for me is at oscar11.github.io/getting-started-demo. If I open that, now it is still building, so this is not a surprise to me. This takes a few minutes for GitHub pages to build, especially if we're all doing this at once. We've just overwhelmed GitHub. I'm sure that's not actually true. But in just a minute, this will give me something like this, where I have available online, I just have that course, and if I click on the course, that will take me to a public version of this site at a public URL that I can share with my students. Okay, so that's the basic workflow. I know we went through that pretty quickly. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to split up into breakout rooms so we can provide individual assistance to all of you. We're going to do that for the next about 20 minutes. We'll take a short break, and then at the start of the new hour, which would be 10 my time in Mountain Zone, we will come back here and we will talk about actually editing this document and adding new things to it.